The Alpha King's curse killed everyone he loved, until I offered to burn alive to save him. The night everything changed. I never believed in fate until the night I watched my fiancé kiss my sister under the blood moon, and the Alpha King himself stepped out of the shadows to claim me as his bride. My name is Serafina Ashford, and 3 hours ago, I thought I knew exactly how my life would unfold. I'd marry Marcus Blackwell, the charming beta of the Silvercrest pack. We'd have a quiet ceremony next spring. I'd continue working at the pack's library, cataloging ancient texts while living a peaceful, unremarkable life. Then I saw them. The engagement party was held in the grand ballroom of the Silvercrest Manor, crystal chandeliers casting golden light across hundreds of guests. I'd excused myself to find Marcus, wanting to share a private moment before the formal announcements began. The terrace doors were slightly ajar, and that's when I heard her laugh, my sister Vivian's unmistakable, musical laugh that had charmed everyone since we were children. I pushed the doors open wider. Marcus had Vivian pressed against the stone balustrade, his hands tangled in her auburn hair, kissing her with a desperate hunger I'd never seen him show me. The blood moon hung fat and crimson above them, painting their betrayal in shades of violence. "Marcus?" My voice came out broken, small. They sprang apart. Vivian's green eyes, so like our mother's, flickered with something that might have been guilt before hardening into defiance. Marcus at least had the decency to look ashamed, though it lasted only seconds. "Sarah, he began. "Don't." I held up my hand, the engagement ring suddenly feeling like a shackle. "How long?" Vivian stepped forward, adjusting her dress with deliberate slowness. "Does it matter? You were never really right for him, were you? You're so ordinary. Marcus deserves someone with fire, with passion." 6 months, Marcus admitted quietly. "I'm sorry, Serafina. I tried to love you the way you deserved, but I'm your sister," Vivian interrupted, looping her arm through his. "Your true mate. We felt the bond the moment I returned from the Northern Territories. You can't fight fate." The words hit like physical blows. 6 months. Half our engagement had been a lie. "The party," I whispered. "Everyone's inside. They're about to announce that the engagement is off," Vivian said brightly. "We've already told father. He's disappointed, of course, but he understands that true mates must be honored. The moon goddess's will and all that. My father had known. Had agreed to let me walk into this humiliation." I yanked the ring from my finger and threw it at Marcus's feet. "I hope you're very happy together." I turned and ran, ignoring Marcus calling my name, ignoring the curious stares as I fled through the ballroom. Tears blurred my vision as I burst through the main doors into the night. I needed to get away, needed to breathe, needed to. I slammed directly into what felt like a stone wall. Strong hands caught my arms, steadying me. A scent enveloped me, midnight jasmine and smoke, with an underlying musk that made my wolf stir for the first time in years. Power radiated from the man I'd crashed into, raw and ancient and absolute. "Careful, little librarian," a deep voice rumbled. "The night is dangerous for those who run blindly." I looked up and forgot how to breathe. The Alpha King. He was devastating. Not handsome in the conventional sense, his features were too sharp, too severe, carved from granite and wrath. A scar cut through his left eyebrow, and his eyes were molten silver, the mark of an alpha bloodline so pure it hurt to look at directly. Black hair fell past his shoulders, and he wore all black, expensive, tailored, dangerous. "I'm sorry, I tried to pull back, but his hands remained firm on my arms." "You're crying." It wasn't a question. Those silver eyes tracked the tears on my cheeks with unsettling intensity. "Who hurt you?" "No one. I mean, it's not, I should go." I tugged harder, and this time he released me, though he didn't step back. "You're Serafina Ashford." Again, not a question. "Elder Thomas's daughter. The bride-to-be, except." His nostrils flared slightly. Except I smell betrayal on you, fresh and bitter. How did he know my name? I studied him more carefully, taking in the silver rings on his fingers, the wolf head pendant at his throat, the way every instinct I possessed screamed at me to submit, to kneel, to bare my throat. You're him, I breathed. You're Kiran Nightshade. The Alpha King. The king of all packs, ruler of the supernatural territories for 300 years. I'd seen his portrait in the library's restricted section, paintings from centuries ago that couldn't possibly capture the raw power he emanated in person. He inclined his head slightly. I am. And you're running from your own engagement party. How scandalous. There is no engagement anymore. The words tasted like ash. My fiancé and my sister are true mates, apparently. So if you'll excuse me. No. I blinked. No? You interest me, Serafina Ashford. He moved closer, and my traitorous body didn't retreat. A woman who works with ancient texts, who understands the old ways. A woman whose own family betrays her, yet she holds her head high rather than shattering. His hand lifted, and one long finger traced the path of a tear down my cheek. Tell me, little librarian, do you believe in the old laws? Yes. Of course. My voice came out breathless. The sacred texts form the foundation of pack society. Then you know, he continued, his finger now tracing my jawline, that under the old laws, an unmated female of good standing can be claimed by any alpha who offers her greater protection than her current circumstances provide. His eyes burned into mine. And you know that once claimed, she becomes untouchable by any who would harm her. My heart hammered. The right of sanctuary. Very good. His smile was dangerous, predatory. It's rarely invoked anymore. Most modern wolves prefer their dating apps and mate runs. But I am not a modern wolf, Serafina. I am ancient, and I honor the old ways. Behind us, I heard voices. Marcus and Vivian had followed me outside. Their footsteps approached, accompanied by my father's heavier tread. Serafina, my father called. Come back inside. We need to discuss this rationally. The Alpha King's eyes never left mine. Do you wish to return to them? To stand before your pack and watch your sister claim your intended? To smile graciously while they pity you? No. The word emerged with more vehemence than I'd intended. Then, he said softly, dangerously, I offer you sanctuary, Serafina Ashford. Come with me now, tonight, to my territory. Serve as my court librarian, tend to the ancient texts that have languished without proper care for decades. His hand moved to cup my cheek, thumb brushing my lower lip. And in return, I will give you something your family never did, I will give you value. Purpose. Power. Serafina. Marcus's voice came closer. Please, let's talk about this. I looked into those silver eyes and saw not just power, but something more complex, ancient loneliness, burning purpose, and underneath it all, a hunger that made my wolf keen with an instinct I didn't understand. What's the catch? I asked. Men like you don't offer sanctuary out of kindness. His smile widened, showing teeth that were slightly too sharp. Smart girl. The catch is simple, you belong to me. Your time, your knowledge, your presence. I don't share what's mine, and once you enter my territory, you don't leave without my permission. That's. Serafina, step away from him. My father's voice held an edge of command, and suddenly Marcus and Vivian flanked him, all three staring at the Alpha King with barely concealed fear. Your Majesty, forgive my daughter. She's emotionally compromised. I'm sure she doesn't mean to. To what? Karen's voice dropped to a lethal purr. To accept my offer of sanctuary? To leave a family that treats her as disposable? He looked at my father with such cold contempt I saw the older man physically recoil. You allowed your younger daughter to seduce your elder daughter's betrothed, then asked the wronged party to smile through her humiliation. And now you presume to tell me what she does or doesn't mean? The temperature dropped 10 degrees. Wolves from inside the party were emerging now, drawn by the Alpha King's undisguised power. Kieran extended his hand to me. Choose, Serafina. Them or me. Your cage, or your freedom. But choose now, because I don't make offers twice. I looked at my father, who'd never quite known what to do with a daughter who preferred books to politics. At Marcus, who'd never loved me at all. At Vivian, who smiled her beautiful smile and took everything that was mine without remorse. Then I looked at Kieran Nightshade, ancient, powerful, dangerous beyond measure. A man who'd ruled for 3 centuries and didn't offer sanctuary to random broken-hearted girls without reason. I should have been terrified. Should have run back to the familiar pain of my family's betrayal. Instead, I placed my hand in his. I accept your sanctuary, Alpha King. His fingers closed around mine, burning hot, and the world erupted in chaos. My father shouted. Marcus lunged forward. Vivian screamed something about ancient laws being barbaric. But Kieran simply pulled me against his side, and every wolf within 50 yards immediately dropped to one knee, heads bowed in submission. She is mine now, Kieran announced, his voice carrying supernatural weight. Under the old laws, witnessed by the blood moon, I claim Serafina Ashford as my ward and protégé. Any who harm her, answer to me. He looked down at me, those silver eyes holding promises and threats in equal measure. Welcome to your new life, little librarian. I hope you survive it. Then we vanished into shadows that shouldn't have existed, leaving my old life behind like discarded clothes, and I realized with creeping horror that I'd just traded one cage for another, except this one had silver bars and an immortal keeper who smiled at me like I was a puzzle he fully intended to solve. Welcome to my channel, Crownfire Tales. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The Obsidian Palace. The shadows dissolved, and I found myself standing in a throne room carved entirely from black marble. Moonlight streamed through massive windows, casting everything in silver and shadow. My legs buckled. Shadow walking was an ancient magic I'd only read about, never experienced. Kieran's arm wrapped around my waist, holding me upright. Easy. First time always hits hard. I couldn't form coherent words. We'd traveled hundreds of miles in seconds. Welcome to Obsidian Keep, he said, releasing me with what seemed like reluctance. Your new home. The throne room was breathtaking and terrifying. Weapons lined the walls, not decorative pieces, but battle-worn blades that had tasted blood. Tapestries depicted ancient wars, and the throne itself was wrought from what looked like silver and bone. I'll show you to your quarters, Kieran said, his tone shifting to something more businesslike. Tomorrow, you'll begin cataloging my library. It hasn't been properly maintained in 70 years. Wait. I turned to face him. Why did you really claim me? You don't know me. You don't need a librarian badly enough to invoke ancient rights. Those silver eyes studied me with unnerving intensity. You're right. I don't. My stomach dropped. Then why? Because 6 months ago, I received a prophecy. He moved closer, circling me like a predator. A seer told me that a wolf born under the autumn moon, marked by betrayal and books, would hold the key to breaking a curse that's plagued my bloodline for 300 years. A curse? My voice came out steadier than I felt. What kind of curse? The kind that turns every woman I've ever cared for into ash. His words were matter of fact, but pain flickered behind them. My mate, my sister, even my mother, all burned to death the moment I acknowledged loving them. So I stopped loving. Stopped caring. Became the monster everyone fears. Horror washed over me. That's why you never married. Why you've ruled alone for centuries. Smart girl. He stopped directly in front of me. But the curse can be broken, supposedly. By a woman who understands ancient magic, who was betrayed by false love, who comes to me willingly under the blood moon. His hand lifted, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. You checked every box, Serafina. So I'm what? An experiment? A potential cursebreaker? You're my last hope, he said quietly. And if the prophecy is true, you're also in terrible danger. Because whoever cursed me will come for you the moment they realize what you might be able to do. The Library of Secrets. He led me through winding corridors to a room that stole my breath. The library was 3 stories tall, with spiral staircases and floating platforms suspended by magic. Thousands of books lined the shelves, ancient grimoires, historical texts, volumes bound in leather and metal and things I didn't want to identify. It's magnificent, I whispered. It's a mess, Kieran corrected. The organization system collapsed decades ago. Some of these texts are dangerous if read by the wrong person. Others contain magic that's been lost for millennia. He handed me a silver key. Your quarters are through that door. The library is yours to command, but don't venture into the restricted section without me. Some knowledge carries a price. I took the key, fingers brushing his. Electric current shot up my arm, and his eyes flared molten silver. One more thing, he said, voice dropping low. The bond between us, sanctuary, creates a magical tether. You'll feel my emotions sometimes, and I'll feel yours. It's unavoidable. That seems like an important detail you could have mentioned earlier. His smile was dark. Would it have changed your answer? Honestly? Probably not. What happens if the prophecy is wrong? If I can't break your curse? Then you live out your life here in safety, tending books and avoiding your treacherous family. He moved toward the door, then paused. Or you die screaming when whoever cursed me finds you. One of the two. Comforting. I don't deal in comfort, Serafina. I deal in truth. He left before I could respond. Midnight discoveries. I couldn't sleep. My new quarters were luxurious, a massive bed with silk sheets, a private bath, shelves already stocked with books. But comfort couldn't quiet my racing mind. At midnight, I returned to the library, drawn by curiosity and restlessness. I'd begun examining the texts nearest my door when I noticed something odd. A section of books all bore the same symbol, a wolf consumed by flames. I pulled one down. The pages were written in Old Tongue, but I'd studied it for years. This was a journal entry, dated 1724. Today marks 10 years since the curse took Elena. I watched her burn in my arms, heard her scream my name as fire consumed her from within. The witch laughed as she died. Love is your weakness, Kieran Nightshade, and now it's your prison. Every heart you claim will turn to ash, until a daughter of autumn breaks what cannot be broken. My hands trembled. This was Kieran's own journal, his private pain preserved in ink. I didn't give you permission to read that. I spun. Kieran stood at the library entrance, still dressed in black, silver eyes glowing in the darkness. I'm sorry, I couldn't sleep, and I saw the symbol. The fire wolf. He moved closer with predatory grace. My personal mark. Everything bearing it is private, Serafina. Off limits. I didn't know. I'll put it back. Too late. He was suddenly right in front of me, backing me against the bookshelf. You've already read about Elena. About what happens when I'm foolish enough to love. His proximity overwhelmed my senses, that midnight jasmine scent, the raw power emanating from him, the heat of his body mere inches from mine. Is that why you push everyone away? I asked softly. Why you're so cold? Cold keeps people alive, he said. Distance protects them. For 300 years, I perfected the art of not caring. That sounds lonely. It is. His hand came up, fingers trailing down my cheek with devastating gentleness. But loneliness doesn't kill. Love does. The magical tether between us pulsed, and suddenly I felt it, crushing isolation, self-imposed exile, the weight of centuries spent afraid to feel anything real. His emotions hit me like a tidal wave. Kieran. You should go back to your room, he said, but he didn't move away. Before I do something we'll both regret. Like what? His eyes dropped to my lips. Like kissing you, which would be catastrophic for multiple reasons. The curse isn't even the main problem. His thumb traced my lower lip. The main problem is that I haven't wanted to kiss anyone in 70 years, and now I can't think about anything else. That's dangerous, Serafina. For both of us. The air between us crackled with tension. Every instinct told me to close the distance, to see if his lips were as devastating as his presence. Instead, a bone-chilling hell shattered the moment. Kieran's head snapped toward the window. No. Not already. What is that? Shadow wolves, he said grimly. Servants of the witch who cursed me. They shouldn't have found you this quickly. Glass exploded inward. 3 massive wolves materialized from darkness itself, their eyes burning red, their fangs dripping shadow. Kieran shoved me behind him. Run to your quarters. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me. I'm not leaving you. That wasn't a request. Power rolled off him in waves as he shifted, not fully, but enough that claws extended and his eyes went pure silver. Go. I ran, heart pounding, as behind me Kieran met the shadow wolves with savage fury. The sounds of battle echoed through the library, snarls, breaking furniture, the wet sound of claws tearing flesh. I reached my door and slammed it shut, turning the lock with shaking hands. Through our bond, I felt Kieran's rage, his protective instinct, and underneath it all, fear. Not for himself. For me. Then the bond went silent, cut off like a severed thread. Kieran? I whispered. No response. Just terrifying silence and my own heartbeat thundering in my ears. What had I gotten myself into? Blood and revelation. I lasted 30 seconds before I broke my promise. Kieran was silent through our bond, either unconscious or dead, and I refused to hide while he fought creatures hunting me. I grabbed the silver letter opener from my desk. Pathetic weapon, but better than nothing. The library was destroyed. Books scattered everywhere, shelves toppled, and blood, so much blood, painted the marble floor in dark streaks. 2 shadow wolves lay dead, already dissolving into black mist. Kieran knelt in the center of the carnage, one hand pressed to his side where deep claw marks bled freely. The 3rd wolf circled him, growling low. I told you to stay in your room, Kieran said without looking at me. His voice was strained with pain. You went silent. I thought that I was dead? Despite his injuries, he smiled darkly. I've survived 3 centuries, little librarian. 3 mutts won't kill me. The shadow wolf lunged. Kieran moved with lethal speed, catching it midair and slamming it into the ground. His claws tore through its throat, and it dissolved like the others. Then he collapsed. Kieran. I ran to him, dropping beside his bleeding form. The wounds weren't healing, shadow poison prevented supernatural regeneration. Stupid girl, he muttered, but his hand found mine. You should have stayed safe. Tell me how to help you. Bottom shelf, red leather book. Healing spell, page 47. His breathing was labored. But you'll need blood to activate it. Mine won't work, I'm what's being healed. I found the book, flipped to the page. Ancient symbols swirled across parchment, instructions written in old tongue. It requires the blood of someone who cares for the wounded, I read aloud. Then we have a problem. Kieran's laugh turned into a cough. No one cares if I live or die. I do. The words came out before I could stop them. His silver eyes locked onto mine, wide with shock. Serafina. Just tell me what to do. I read the incantation, pricked my finger with the letter opener, and let 3 drops of blood fall onto his wounds. The spell activated with blinding light, ancient magic flooding through me and into him. Power unlike anything I'd ever felt surged between us. Not just healing magic, something deeper, older, fundamental. The bond between us exploded into full awareness, and suddenly I wasn't just feeling his emotions. I was seeing his memories. The truth revealed. Images flooded my mind, Kieran as a young man, before the curse, laughing with a beautiful woman named Elena. Their mating ceremony under autumn stars. Then fire, Elena screaming as flames consumed her from within while Kieran held her, helpless and horrified. A witch's face, twisted with rage. You killed my daughter in battle, Nightshade. Now love will kill everything you hold dear. 300 years of isolation. Women he'd cared for, all burned to ash the moment he acknowledged his feelings. His sister, trying to comfort him, spontaneously combusting when he hugged her. His mother, telling him she loved him, dying in flames seconds later. Learning to feel nothing. Becoming the monster everyone feared because monsters don't love, and love meant death. Then 6 months ago, a prophecy, a daughter of autumn, betrayed by false love, marked by ancient knowledge, will either break your curse or become its final victim. And tonight, seeing me run from my engagement party, knowing I fit every requirement, taking the gamble that cost 3 centuries of caution. The visions faded. Kieran's wounds had sealed, the shadow poison purged. We both knelt on the blood-stained floor, breathing hard, still connected by magic that pulsed between us like a heartbeat. You saw, he said quietly. It wasn't a question. Everything. Tears streaked my face. Kieran, I'm so sorry. Don't. His hand cupped my face. Don't pity me. I couldn't bear that from you. It's not pity. I covered his hand with mine. It's understanding why you're so afraid. I'm not afraid. But his voice betrayed him. You're terrified, I whispered. Because you're starting to care about me, and everyone you've ever cared about died screaming. He didn't deny it. Instead, he pulled me closer, resting his forehead against mine. The healing spell worked because you care for me. That activated the magic. Which means we're in danger, I finished. If I care about you, and you care about me, the curse will try to kill you. His voice was raw. The shadow wolves were just the beginning. The witch is dead, but her curse lives on, and it will do everything possible to destroy you before you can break it. Then we break it first. I pulled back to meet his eyes. The prophecy says I can end this. Tell me how. The forbidden ritual. Kieran led me deeper into the library, to a section sealed behind silver chains. The restricted texts, he explained, unlocking them with magic. Including the original curse documentation. He pulled out an ancient tome bound in black leather and silver thread. The pages were written in blood. The curse can only be broken by willing sacrifice, I read aloud. A heart freely given must burn in place of those already lost. The daughter of autumn must offer herself to flame, and if her love is true, the fire will consume the curse instead of the woman. My blood ran cold. I have to die. No. Kieran's voice was savage. Absolutely not. We'll find another way. There is no other way. I gestured at the book. This is it, the only solution. I burn, or everyone you ever loved burns. That's the choice. Then I choose neither. He grabbed my shoulders. I'll live with the curse. I've managed 300 years, I can manage 300 more. Alone? Always alone, never able to care about anyone? I shook my head. That's not living, Kieran. That's existing. It's surviving, which is what matters. No. I placed my hands over his. What matters is that this ends. That you're free. That all the people who died, Elena, your sister, your mother, their deaths mean something. Not if it costs your life. My life was already over. The words burst from me with surprising vehemence. I was going to marry a man who didn't love me, serve a family that saw me as disposable, live a small, forgettable existence. But this, I gestured between us, this matters. You matter. And if burning means you get to love again without killing everyone, then I burn. Kieran stared at me like I'd gone insane. You've known me for 12 hours. I've known you for 12 hours, I agreed, and I've felt 300 years of your pain. I've seen your memories, felt your isolation, understood your sacrifice. I stepped closer. So yes, maybe it's crazy. Maybe I'm being stupidly impulsive. But I'd rather burn for something real than live a lifetime for nothing. His hands came up to frame my face, thumbs stroking my cheeks. You're the bravest, most foolish woman I've ever met. Is that a compliment? It's a confession. His silver eyes burned into mine. I've spent 3 centuries not caring about anyone. Not allowing myself to feel anything real. But you walked into my life 12 hours ago, and I already care so much it terrifies me. My heart stuttered. Kieran. If you do this, he continued, voice breaking, if you sacrifice yourself to break this curse, I will spend the rest of my immortal life honoring that gift. I will make sure everyone knows Serafina Ashford died not as a disposable daughter, but as the woman who freed the Alpha King from his prison. Tears spilled down my cheeks. That's all I wanted, to matter. He kissed me then. Not gentle, not careful, desperate and claiming and full of 3 centuries of denied passion. I kissed him back with equal fervor, pouring everything into that moment, acceptance, understanding, choice. When we broke apart, both breathing hard, Kieran's eyes had shifted fully to wolf silver. Tomorrow at dawn, I said firmly. We perform the ritual. Tomorrow at dawn, he agreed, voice rough, I watch you burn, or I die trying to stop fate. Outside, another howl echoed, more shadow wolves coming. But I wasn't afraid anymore. Because I'd finally found something worth burning for.